Alright guys, Hayzink here, welcome back to the channel for another Street Fighter Duel video, and in today's video we're kind of, I guess, doing something that was requested in the comments. Although I don't actually know where we're going with this right now, we are going to be having a discussion about Luke, and it's going to essentially be debating if he is a good unit or if he is not a good unit. There is some nuance there. I think you can be somewhere in between, you know. I had a kind of point of view, and maybe somewhat my point of view has changed slightly, but not greatly, and Pika is about to attempt to change my mind, and I guess we're going to debate the merit of, well, at least I'm going to debate if I agree with him, and he's maybe going to debate if he agrees with my counterpoints. So if you didn't enjoy watching Trump and Kamala having a nice debate, then you can maybe enjoy watching me and Pika having a debate as well. So basically, instead of getting those two, you're getting a giant douche and a shit sandwich. Anyway, on you go, Pika.
Hello. Yeah, this will be a good one. Because there's many talks about Showdown. The Showdown is the most important aspect of this game right now, even for whales and for low spenders. Now, low spenders have developed some teams similar to the whales by improving their lineups, by collecting starlights, putting them in the characters that are the main characters for meta and stuff like that. Especially that we have double Bison teams dominating everything, unbeatable team, very good team. And the second team, which is Visconti Vega. And the third team that people are playing right now is different lineups that have different characters. Some are using Gouken for more defensive, some are using the full TMNT for more offensive and getting a good lineup. These are the top three lineups if you want to talk about it, which is Double Bison, Visconti Vega team, and the Turtle teams. And now we have somebody that is contesting that can defeat at least two of these teams by ease, which is the teams that have Luke with a good setup.
Okay.
What do you think?
I want to kind of like really. It's maybe your excitement. It's maybe your enthusiasm. With ease, I really take exception to that, because what people don't know is I have probably been sitting for about the last maybe hour testing a lot of things that Pika's been telling me. This is great, that's great, and
that's true.
They fall into the category of inconsistent, in my opinion, which doesn't mean they're bad, right? I've already kind of identified where certain builds with Luke are strong, and I've also been able to identify where certain builds with Luke are not strong. Now, my argument is, while yes, Luke can be very useful in PvP, I think that Luke is more useful. Now, hopefully you can still see my screen, Pika, so you know what I'm looking at. I think Luke is more useful in a mode like this. And in a mode like this, you have control. You know what you're going to face. You can pitch your lineup to go against what it's going to work in, okay? But in my opinion, when you're talking about PvP, there is one PvP mode in this game that matters, and it's this PvP mode. And here, you can't have a unit and him be classed as a meta if he's only going to work in some scenarios versus some specific teams, okay? Now, I'll elaborate more on what I mean after I allow Pika to say whether he knows where I'm going with this or not, and then we'll return to my point in a minute, okay? So, Pika, what I'm basically saying is, I think Luke can be good in PvP. I just think that he has specific builds you have to run him on, and those builds are good against some other builds, but not all other builds. You need to have variants of the Luke team, so you'll have one variant for Bison teams, but you'll need a different variant for a Honda, not a Honda team, for a Vega team. The one team generally won't work against both of them.
I agree with you completely in this aspect. Showdown, you can control it. You can't control it, while HWA or any similar PvP concept, you can control it, like draft mode or whatever. You can put the teams that you want, depending what they pick, what they ban, stuff like that. But the thing is that what I see is the probability. The probability is everything, mathematical talking. If you have, what are the best two teams right now? The best two lineups? Double Bison teams?
I don't run double bison. I generally don't. I discussed this with you. I don't necessarily think it has to be a double bison team, but it certainly needs to. It certainly needs to be an overlord bison team. 100%.
Yeah. Let's say the most people are playing Overlord Bison with Bison and Michelangelo. This is the most lineup that is more consistent and used by the majority of the player base as the top solid team that is uncontested. Let's say if you're not facing mirror matches, if you're facing any different other team, you can win with this team easily. Now the other second team is the Visconti Vega team, which you play Visconti Vega. Some people play him with Hayzink, some people play him with somebody else, but it's the Visconti Vega team. Now these teams have been dominant for so far like 3 months now, 2 months, something like that, and they're like winning every match they have, except if you have a Visconti Vega versus double Bisons, he will lose. And this is the counter of him, which is Overlord Bison.
Yep.
But if you can't predict that, and if somebody, like you have double Bisons, you have Visconti Vega and the third team. If you didn't put your double Bison against your opponent Visconti Vega, and you had a mirror match, your Overlord Bison against their Overlord Bison, and now it becomes RNG. They win that, you lost your Overlord Bison team, and they have your Visconti Vega not countered. Or you couldn't counter their Visconti Vega. So it becomes to RNG. Now, what Luke did is, his chances versus Visconti Vega are almost 90% to 100% win rate against Visconti Vega. Why is that? Because of the reversal drive and because Visconti Vega goes low on HP. This is one of the aspects why Overlord Bison immediately shuts him down. He goes low on HP, the second explosion, bam, Visconti Vega is dead. So Luke, what he does is go with his attacks normally. Visconti Vega gets himself low on HP. Luke does the reversal drive. Visconti Vega die. Now you have two counters for Visconti Vega teams, which is with Luke teams and with Overlord Bison. So you eliminated one of the probability. Your chances became higher because you can win with two teams versus Visconti Vega. And the third team is up to you to do, which is whichever you want to do, which is will be your own Visconti Vega.
Sure.
And this will give you more probability. That's what I'm talking about.
Sure.
Now, placement in PvP, it also gives you more chances. So if you place Overlord Bison versus their Overlord Bison, now how do you counter their Visconti Vega team? If it's the next team, if you put your Luke team, he will win versus them. If it was any other different team, normal teams that doesn't have Overlord Bison or Visconti Vega, you 100% will win with Luke team with a good setup.
Well, actually, here's the thing I want to say though. Again, I feel like this really depends on the player quite a lot, because a lot of the examples that you were showing me, for example, you would actually, in some ways, weaken your V Vega team or your Bison team who run that Luke team, because one of them has got Honda on it, right? And Honda, base Honda, he's exceptionally good on a regular Vega team, okay?
Yeah.
I would argue that taking him out of your Vega team for most people is actually going to make that Vega team weaker, okay? And the other variant would be using Rich Honda, and I found a lot of success myself running Rich Honda with Overlord Bison. So I think that makes your Overlord Bison team weaker. Now, while I do agree that there can be some teams, some situations, some setups where running Luke can counter these two teams, potentially. By the way, while we're speaking, guys, I'm talking to the audience here. These three first players on this list, they've got the kind of teams we're talking about. So I'm just going to run an example of Luke in action, right? So yeah, there you go. We've got Michelangelo, double Bison, and I'm going to run this setup here using Luke. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. It's one of those. We'll see how it goes. So yeah, anyway, I feel like making that change to give yourself a chance that, like you're saying there, if for whatever reason you happen to win your Battle 1, which is your Visconti Vega team, but you don't win your Battle 2, if Luke's your Battle 3, you've got a much greater chance of winning it because you've built that Luke setup. Now, the only argument I would make to that is if you've actually built a Luke setup with the kind of key units that might actually make him viable, you've got less of a chance of winning that battle 1 or that battle 2 because you've made your Vega team weaker, or you've made your Bison team weaker to allow you the ability to do that. And as we're speaking, you're seeing that I'm probably going to win this one with Luke. Now, there you go, Pika. Like, it's like, hey, look, you're proving my point. And now we're going to face off against a Vega team again. Maybe it will work again. I don't know. In all my testing earlier, I did not win 2 in a row with this team. If it happens now, it's goddamn typical that we're on camera and people can say, Pika's right. But no, I would actually say that...
the consistency what I'm talking about, not me being right or being wrong.
No, it's fine.
It's something you need to consider also.
I would say that what your argument proves more than anything, and 100% I do think this is now the case, is Showdown has returned to a formula that hasn't really existed for a while. And what I mean by that is Showdown has now returned back to a rock, paper, scissors formula, right? Where basically...
Did your Overlord Bison just die?
No, he's still alive. You know that base Bison died. You know that your Bison team will beat a Vega team, and you know that your Vega team will pretty much beat anything that's not a Bison team. Okay, that's pretty much what Showdown is right now. So if you have placed your teams in the right place, you probably will not lose Showdown. And I think that Showdown's now returned to that system where it used to be M Bison. Like back in the day, if you had put your M Bison team in the right place, and as long as you had one other strong team, you could pretty much guarantee you would win Showdown. We're kind of back to that again. And what you're actually now finding is players are sacrificing a team. Lower level players, they're flat out sacrificing a team. Basically, if they think you're going to put your Overlord Bison team into slot 1, they will just throw up a crap team, any old crap team. And then that means they've got their Vega team and their Overlord Bison team for slot 2 and slot 3 of Showdown. And that pretty much guarantees they're going to win, right? Because no matter where they've really put that, the likelihood is they'll probably win. And I don't think Luke changes that. That's kind of where I'm coming at from this. Now, I do think Luke is a good unit in some situations. I still think he's fantastic for multi-team bossing, and I can see the benefit here. This is a much harder battle, guys. This one is where you might not see him doing so well. I can see the benefit here of what you're saying, right? We kind of found from testing earlier, if you're facing a Vega team and you put base Honda on there, base Honda will defend against those range strikes. Luke will do his... That works, right? But it doesn't work against a Bison team. If you're facing a Bison team...
Doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't work.
If you're facing a Bison team, you would run your Rich Honda, same thing, it would do pretty well against that team. The problem you've got there is consistency, like I mentioned already, and when it comes to things like Showdown, you need that consistency. If not, you're just at the mercy of RNG, the same way you would be if you weren't running Luke, if you were just going with the standard, I'm going to use my Bison team, I'm going to use my Vega team. So I don't actually think it changes much. I can see him being a unit that's a good option for some people, I can, but I don't think he's a meta. No way, shape or form do I think he's a meta. I don't even necessarily think he's a hard counter in the way that Bison is a hard counter to Vega, and Vega is a hard counter to pretty much everyone apart from Bison. So that prove me wrong. That's what I want you to do. Convince me I'm wrong.
Give me somebody that, other than Visconti Vega, that does an AoE damage that can one-shot units that are immune to damage. Not below 1%, but immune to damage. Give me another unit. AoE, don't tell me Eva Ryu. AoE. One unit.
But wait. My mind went blank there. What you asking
Visconti me? Visconti Vega with his skills. That's super.
Are you asking me who else in the game does what Visconti Vega does?
What does Visconti Vega as an AoE goes beyond immunities, kills beyond immunity? It's easy. It's one character. It's Luke.
I know, but I feel like this is a bit of
with his reversal drive, it's AoE, okay? And when they are immune, he does 100% more damage, and his reversal does insane amount of damage already by its own. So he will bypass immunities and kill these units. So you will have him as an option to get you through what the units that doesn't die. And this is what I'm talking about. Some utilities, and imagine when I created the double tank teams with Bison, remember that? When Wales went crazy, how are you winning against my team? And shit like that. I used Bison with Zangief on the team and Honda. And Zangief with his C2, when Bison is exploding or in the front line, you hit him with a C2 6 out of 6, negate his passive, you kill him, and then you continue fighting. So now we can't do that. Of course, Zangief can counter also Overlord Bison, negate his passives, and make him die first. And I showed that before, but it's not consistent.
I think this will lose this one. That's a much better team. I run this team quite a lot. This team works very well. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm just explaining it to the viewers. If I lose here, it's because I actually think this is a better build. Carry on. Sorry.
With Overlord Bison?
Yeah, I like this build. It's a build that I run a lot myself sometimes. I think it works pretty damn well. It's not like infallible or anything like that, but it does work pretty damn well.
Does this win versus 2 Bisons?
No, this is a single Bison. A rich Honda, Fashion Ryu. Although I do think that Luke's maybe going to do it here. But what I was going to say was that I think it's a bit of a false equivalency though to kind of compare Luke to Vega, because I think the thing that Vega's got in his corner is he doesn't have any like scaling or anything involved. He's just massively doing huge damage right off the bat, and
the damage over time.
I would need to.
Don't forget that.
Oh no! But the thing is, I would need to like actually sit down and time this, right? I wouldn't be shocked if Luke, by the time that Luke's done a full combo run, I think he could probably do 2 with Vega, because it's just a really quick thing. Generally, what happens with Vega is he does his super, he does his C3. Usually, when he does his next super, everyone's dead.
Yes.
Usually, right?
Yes.
I mean, I still think Luke's biggest drawback is his
unless you're playing normal
time.
Honda. Unless you're playing normal Honda, because he will have the wall 2 times, and if you use his C3, he's gonna do it 3 times. He will do it more often. Every time he uses C3, he makes that wall. So the super of Visconti Vega will not go through, or his C3 will not go through.
Yeah.
Will not attack you at all. You will not take damage.
Sure.
Because it will negate it. That's the counter for him. Right now, for me as free to play, if I face a Visconti Vega team and I can place my teams and predict where their Visconti Vega team will have their team, I'll play Honda on my lineup with the normal Bison, because I know that Visconti Vega will never kill him. I'll just start with Honda. It will give me damage sharing. It means all my lineup are protected, and I will use his C3 to gain the wall every single time. Sure. And with the explosion of my normal Bison or Overlord Bison at S+ copy that I have, will explode and kill their Visconti Vega, because he can't regenerate or lifesteal, because his attack is not going through. He's not dealing damage to lifesteal.
No,
because of the wall of Honda.
No, you're absolutely right there. I don't dispute that at all. I just think that.
But Luke did add so much to the especially for this meta right now, is like use Luke to counter Visconti Vega, use Luke to counter the TMNT, use Luke to counter the units that have somebody like Gouken on their lineups. Now, of course, you can use your own Gouken with the Luke lineup. It will be more consistent as for defensive-wise, but not for offensive-wise, unless you're using somebody to buff your attacks, like Athlete Chun-Li, like Dawn, like Donatello, what's his name? Trendy Ryu. But 100% Luke added so much when he came to the game. Now, if you, like, your lineup right now, what you're using, forget Overlord Bison and Visconti Vega and Luke. Add another unit instead of Luke and show me if it's successful. With the same lineup. Fire Adon, Viper, Akuma, Oni, who can do the same thing and win the first lineup? We played now 4 fights or 3 fights.
Well, no,
2 of them or 3 of them, you won.
Unfortunately,
if you replace Luke, you will not win.
Unfortunately, I feel like that's more of a weird mechanic of the game. I know this probably sounds really stupid, and it's really hard to quantify what I'm saying, but I don't really know why. But units like Oni and stuff like that, for some reason, they feel old now. And what I mean by they feel old is they just feel like they're punching in a completely different weight category. Like they should perform better. They feel like they should perform better. Their numbers make them seem like they should perform better, but they don't. It's the same with bossing. It's like you take units like Oni, you take units like, even to a certain extent, Trendy Akuma. Trendy Akuma can be good in some circumstances. He can be extremely good, but he should be a unit that can do quite well in bossing, same as Oni, lots of different things, but they just don't. Right, they just don't. I mean, you can get mediocre scores with them, but you can't get like the kind of scores that you can get from units like Vivega, even to a certain extent Overlord Bison, who I don't actually think is what I would call a quote-unquote bossing unit. He can be used to fill a team because you've got like 4 teams, you know what I mean?
Yes.
He isn't like punching the way that if you get the run correctly, you can get a really great score with the turtles, you know? If you are facing a unit that's like, for example, Nero, who's got a couple of other units alongside them, you're going to see some really good scores coming off of Luke because of the way that Luke's super works, you know? You're going to build that damage up really quickly. If you've got his fighting spirit, his cars and stuff, and do another attack with him, that's going to do more. It's just the way he's built. I just feel like a lot of the special summon units these days are old and they don't do as well as they should. Unfortunately, the one argument I would make for this game is it needs something like Dokkan Battle's got, where they revisit older units, and I don't know what they do. Yeah, they call it an Extreme Z Awakening in Dokkan. I don't know if you ever played Dokkan, but they call it
I get that.
They call it an Extreme Z Awakening, and they actually go in and they do things like adjust the passive, adjust the skill. Like, they literally take the unit, which will still function the same way relatively as it did at its core, but they'll do things like increase numbers, make the buffs bigger from passives. They'll bring it up to a modern standard, right? You shouldn't need to do that with this game, because this game is still, in relative terms, it's still relatively new. You know, you shouldn't really need to go in and readjust things. But I feel like they've shifted the meta of how the game functions so much in that 1.5 years that unless they were to do something like bringing expanded soul power to all these units, or like bring level 140 soul power that maybe allows you to make some of these less useful special summon units better.
Eventually. It will happen eventually.
I mean, they can't even buff old units. I don't, God knows. So I do see the use for Luke, right? I just don't think that Luke is meta defining or anything like that. I don't, because I feel like on a lot of the teams that people are saying, like, oh my god, put Luke on a Bison team and he does fantastic, put Luke with Vega and he does fantastic. Yeah, true, but you don't actually need to put him on those teams. There's other units that can quite easily go into those teams and they'll still do fantastic. So to me, Luke isn't necessarily the thing that's pushing that team over the edge. And would I say that I would change my mind when I put him in the S tier? Honestly, I'll stick to my guns. Unless they sped up his animations, I wouldn't move him to SS. If Luke had faster animations, I would put him in SS tier. I absolutely despise how long this guy's animations take. His animations absolutely, for me, kill the flow of the game. Like, they literally do, because they just take so goddamn long. You do not want to touch this guy's C3. Like, if you do his super and his C3, bye-bye.
He whips his C3 too.
Aye, and bye-bye to getting any more
if he goes
you know?
Like, sometimes he go behind the units and start hitting the air, and he stays there while the enemy is doing their combo, killing the rest of your team.
So ultimately the aim was to try and convince me that I don't mean I was wrong.
Listen,
I don't mean I was wrong.
I'm not stubborn. I'm gonna say this with your, like, the mindset, with the way that you talked about it. Put Luke on Visconde Vega team or on Overlord Bison. You don't even need. You can put somebody else. I agree with that. But having him on another team that doesn't have Overlord Bison or Visconde Vega, you have another option to bypass these immunities, to kill these OP lineups. Like, you have a chance against Overlord Bison with his team. You have a chance with Luke.
Sure.
So you maximize your options, your probabilities in your showdown, which is unpredictable. Many people could change their own lineups.
Oh yeah,
That's
sure.
what I'm saying. Look here, who's the main carry here?
Well, no, but here's what I'm going to point.
Go back to the logs.
But
go
here's
back to the logs. Check who did the highest damage.
You can't.
It's Rich Honda and Luke.
For some reason, I don't know what it is. If you go to the logs, it only shows you defenses. It doesn't show you your attacks, right?
No, it does. It does. It shows you.
Since when?
In the battle report. Here you
doesn't
go.
show
You
me.
won.
I didn't.
The stats.
No, that's him attacking me. Look at the start. The shield. That's defense.
Ah, because you're sparring. Okay.
Aye. Like,
because you're sparring. Spar doesn't show. Yeah, exactly.
Now the thing that I'm going to say is, yes, what you're saying is absolutely correct. Like, this team here, if I have this in Showdown, which I've not, but if I've got this in Showdown, let's say it's my team 2 or my team 3, right? If I happen to choose incorrectly and my first team, say I put Vega there and I lose to Bison, having this team, I maybe increase my chances of still winning, right? But
that's what I meant.
But
that's only what my argument.
But how viable is this team for the vast majority of people? I would say it's not. I would say most people cannot. Most people can't field a team like this. Like most people, for a start, Agent Viper is actually pretty important to this team. Most people don't have her, right? And I don't blame them for not having her, right? Most people don't have her. Most people, if they happen to have Honda at a good usable level, they're not going to have Luke where they need them. Most people are certainly not going to have Trendy Ryu, right? Yes, there is some variations you can run, but you're probably going to need some OP units in your team. And what I'm kind of getting at is it can be very, how do I put this the right way? FOMO inducing if people think that, oh my god, I need to jump to this. But those people really had made the right choice in going for their Vegas, going for their Overlord Bisons, and honestly, those people should not have summoned for Luke. Like when Luke came up, those people should not have summoned for Luke, because to me, Luke is still a unit that yes, he can function, but you really need to work hard to build the team. I found that out before we started recording this video. You know, Pika, because I sent you the videos. I tried maybe 6-7 different variations and it just wasn't clicking. And then this team actually started to come together and it would work. But people don't have those options. And I think when it comes to meta, and again, I know that you've tried to resist calling it meta, right? But when it comes to meta, people need that more one-size-fits-all approach. You know, they need units that can function with more free-to-play style units. They need units that can go with your shield ables, with your suit ables, with your Elenas. You know, they need units that don't need all these hyper premium units to go alongside.
The final
them.
question that I want to ask you, which is on your point, if you have your Overlord Bison team and your Visconti Vega team, what third team would you play now? Which is the most used team, the third most used team, is the full TMNT team.
Well, no, I'll be honest, I'll be completely honest.
This team is better than them?
I mean, I can only talk about my own experience. Again, it might just be pure bad luck for me, but my Turtles team, even though I've got max Turtles, max cars, max everything, has never won in Showdown, never. And I think it's because they've never not faced either a Vega team or a Bison team. It's always been a Vega or a Bison team.
Yeah.
They've never won, ever, not one time.
So back to my point.
Would I run this team? I would run this team.
You might win with this team, and it will increase your chances. That's my point.
Well,
who is competing for Showdown?
Not
free to play, not normal spenders. Wales.
Listen, I won't run this team exactly. That's all I'm going to say. I won't run this team exactly, and the reason being, I've made this video, and I now need to change this team because I can't reveal my cards for Showdown.
Exactly. I know.
So I wouldn't specifically, or maybe I would. Maybe I'm just lying. You know, people. You can't.
But this team looks nice. It's not bad. It's the consistency of it. Is it above 70%? Yes, it is above 70%. Yes, it is a successful team.
I think it bet every. Actually, to be honest, on this video, I think it bet every Bison team.
Yeah. Is there any Visconti Vega team that you can fight with this team?
What, as team 1?
Yeah. If you can find one.
I know, but I don't.
In the top 10.
We're going to have a gulf in power. That becomes an issue in itself. Where if I start having, is this normalized? Is this HWA? Is this normalized levels?
I think it's not, but this is Visconti Vega and Overlord Bison. I think this team should win versus you.
We never tried it. We'll see. But you think that team should beat this team?
Yes, this team should definitely beat your team.
Right, we'll see.
And they're faster than you as well.
It should be. So we'll see what happens here. Because obviously I'm going to take damage straight off the bat, coming off the fact that he comes in and he's posting his big...
So no shields from the start? Super from... Okay. He's playing the C3 of Visconti Vega.
Okay. There's Luke coming in.
You should be one shot here. Yeah. This is what I meant.
I
knew that this would happen. So, but as I told you, using like imagine something like that. You lost to it in the first showdown. He's using Overlord Bison and Visconde Vega on one team. The other two teams, what he would use against your Visconde Vega?
Well, he wouldn't. No, I think realistically speaking, a person wouldn't run that team in Showdown because a person, like I said before, that isn't what I would class as a realistic team. Because
this is HWA. I get it. Yeah,
you're not going to run that team in Showdown because if you run that team in Showdown, you're essentially gimping the rest of your Showdown lineup. So people. That's the thing I don't like about HWA. I hear people saying, "Oh, I've tested this team build, I've tested that team build in HWA," and I'm like, "But you're not going to run that, because you're handicapping yourself too much for the rest of your squad. There's not a chance that you're actually going to go ahead and run that for the entire rest of the thing. Because look, now probably these two units on their own, they'll probably solo the rest of it because he took his most powerful." Units and he put them onto his first team, which for depending on who you're fighting could be a completely solid strategy, but you cannot do that in Showdown. And again, this really boils down to
you will win with Michelangelo can't be killed, your Overlord Bison will keep exploding, and you won because his other teams are now not that good anymore.
Well, I mean,
I get it. Yeah, if you put your eggs on one bag, like, it's a loss. No matter what.
It might time out. I mean, I don't actually know here because like Abel's pretty good with the shielding. I mean, unless we kill Viper here, I don't know. Like you can see that this team's kind of hanging on a wee bit. Oh no, Akuma's gone. No, now it's starting to fall apart. I've won now. I think even if it times out now, I've won. Or I don't know actually. Does it go
No, if it times out with him having more HP than your unit. So if you all of your units are 99 HP, 99% HP, and he's on 100% HP on one unit, you even if you have 4 units and he has 1 unit,
the
so percentage of your he will win. But you will win here.
I've won now. I mean, I don't think it takes shield into account as HP, does it? No, it wipes it out. Right, so like then we see, even there, he's got. Oh, you go. There's look. I mean, we probably expect this team.
He's faster too. He might have a chance.
Yeah, I would expect it to be honest. Unless Bison popping his trigger here is enough to.
I don't think
kill.
Michelangelo survives this. Yeah, he doesn't. It's a reversal. He has a reversal, Luke.
But then you've got the downside of now rolls in.
Now Visconde Vega team.
And this is going to be faster. No, it's not actually because of the hole. This in theory now should just chop this up. But again, maybe we're wrong. I don't know. But this is what I'm saying before about how making the choice to kind of stack things. If you're going to take your really powerful units to put them with Look and Showdown, you are in essence gimping your other teams, which is So that's how I think when it comes to Look, for Look to be like an actual unit that I would say, yes, he's must have, you've got to have him, he's game changing. He needs to go on to a team that isn't going to weaken your V Vega team or your M Bison team, which right now I think to build him in the best way, he kind of does, right? He needs to weaken those teams. It's a bit like when people say to me, oh, this unit's really good for bossing if you take R Honda, and I'm like, why would I want to take R Honda off of my Flame Adon team? Like that's what I'm talking about. I think when people are looking at team 2s, 3s and 4s and bossing, if you have to make what is the meta team, the Flame Adon team, if you need to make that team weaker to strengthen another team, then chances are you're probably not going to hit the same highs than if you just left the Flame Adon team alone. So whenever it comes to like bossing and stuff like that, I always look for units that don't need to take away from what is the meta team. The same thing goes for PvP. If you have
I think there's a contestant for Fire Adon.
What are you talking about?
You were right. He's legendary. The new Guile, Banquet Guile.
Yeah. Do you know what? It turns out when we were recording that video, we could have actually known that because he was in there.
Yeah.
But I didn't know that. But I still think that means that probably next week we might get Summer Yun. The reason I say that is because
damage over time too.
I don't think the game has ever introduced a legend and not had at least a standard summon along with it.
Did you see Summer Yun in the game? Did you see him? He's in the game right now.
Are you talking about in trial mode when you go to set? Is it Seth's trial or something?
This is what happened with Witch Jury and Seth, and they got released afterwards. Yeah. So we might get him, but
wait. Summer Yun is in the game, as in if I go to exchange right now, I could exchange and get Summer Yun.
No, you can't. I don't know. Can you?
What faction was he? Do you know?
Thunder.
Thundercats. Hey,
He click on Thunder icon. Yeah.
Nah, he's not there.
Is he there?
He's not there.
He's not. Okay.
When they done that with Witch Jury, you could go into here and you could actually get Witch Jury.
Yeah, I remember that.
They screwed that up. But what I'd say, Pika, is right. You haven't changed my mind, but you have somewhat softened me to Luke. I don't think I ever said Luke was a bad character, which I stand by. I don't think I ever.
No, you didn't.
outright
You
called
didn't.
him bad,
I never
right?
heard you say he's bad.
I still feel like he is situational, although maybe more situations, but I don't think he's anywhere near being broken or meta or anything like that. I think if you draw against
For me,
the right
he is.
teams,
He is broken and he is meta. Okay, I will say this statement. Do you agree with it?
but
or
you
disagree?
love, but Pika, can I just say this? You love calling
Yeah.
units broken. You went through a phase when I would log on to the internet and I'd literally see YouTube and it's, this unit is broken, this unit is broken. I'd be like, oh my god, every unit
Do
can
you
be
see what
broken
I
for
see?
God's sake.
Do you see what I see? Me,
What?
I talk about, okay, I don't talk about units that deal high damage. I talk about utility and usability and mechanic.
Oh, no,
That's
I'm the-
what I talk about. I
Sure,
love that.
I'm the number one guy for that. I've always said that support
Okay.
units, even back in the Sky
Okay.
RPG, support units are what enables the high numbers. In fact, when it comes to this new Rose, I hope to God they've taken the formula for Summer Elena, but instead of healing, it is a trigger unit who's coming out and she's doing crit rate buffing as a trigger unit. I would love a damage increasing
that would be awesome.
trigger unit. That's what I want this new Rose to be. People are asking for her to be a damage unit. Get the hell out of here. I want her to be a trigger support unit.
Yeah, I would love a support that is completely OP.
Yep.
By the way, what I say when I say broken, and people will tell me, oh, how could you say? I said Zangief is broken. He's the only unit in the game that negates full passive. He has a broken utility. That's why I call him broken. Visconde Vega, broken. Why? Because he bypasses immunities AoE. Now Luke does the same. This is why he's broken in my eyes. Again, for Virgil, he's broken with his survivability, which is not forever. And the same thing for Overlord Bison. He's broken with his survivability. You can't kill him unless you hit him with the C2 of Zangief, 6 out of 6, or he's the last one on the lineup to die. That's what in my head is classified as broken. That's completely broken. It's breaking the game. You can't do nothing against it because it will dominate even if you don't want to dominate with it. And I want to say this statement and tell me if you agree with it or not. If you are a whale and you didn't max out Luke, if you're a whale already and didn't max out Luke, you made the biggest mistake on your account.
If you're a whale and you didn't max out Luke, you're probably not a whale because, to be completely honest, whales would have done it anyway. I don't
If
feel
there's
like
a whale that is stubborn. He's like, no, Luke, I don't think he's useful. We can skip him. I'm saving. I don't want to.
I don't think that person exists, Pika. Whales don't think that way. Like, I don't mean it like that. I'm just saying they don't. If they would be summoning with the tickets, they would have bought the grant.
Oh,
They
yeah.
would have bought the grant
Makes
anyway.
sense.
They would have the unit sitting at maybe S plus or S. They would have
Triple
finished.
S at least, yeah.
They would have
If
finished
he-
the
if he
unit.
voted, so, yeah.
And to be honest, as long as the people have got even a whale, if they stopped at S plus S2, I wouldn't call them stupid because they might just decide, you know what, I will use Starlight over time. They might buy Starlight, I don't know. But I'd say that if they didn't get the unit to at least SSS2, then okay, maybe yeah, they've made a mistake as a whale. Because as a whale, they've got the funds to worry about Team 3 on bossing, Team 4 on bossing, and this is a unit who's going to help in some scenarios.
Even I think,
But again,
I think if a normal spender didn't go for, you're a normal spender, you can use money whenever you feel a unit is gonna change the direction of your account. I think if you didn't go and get Luke to triple S at least, I think you made a mistake if you're a spender. Why wouldn't you spend on Luke? Why would you spend on Water Chun-Li? Now I know her assist is great and sometimes her survivability, but why wouldn't you go for Luke? Why? There's no reason.
because
The
for
guy
some people-
is usable.
I mean, like actually having a serious discussion here and not just like being flippant. Because Water Chun-Li's £50, $50 straight up. Luke
And you
could
can
have
get it,
Luke could have cost them $500 to $1,000. I don't think it's comparable. I get what you're saying. Like I get your point, but I don't know. I just feel like it's a bit too extreme to make a statement like that. Because again, some people value things differently, and some people will buy every $50 unit because they think it's a $50 unit, which is great. Other people will be like, I could buy 5 games on Steam for that. I mean, it's a bit of a false equivalency, but still, I get their point at the same time. is Luke worth what I got him for? Absolutely, because I done crazy well with Luke, like actually crazy well. I mean, I literally on the last reward payout, I got him fully done. I had one extra actually, and I used it. I transferred that extra copy to get another copy of the Capri, the swimsuit one.
Yeah.
So like, I was extremely lucky, but I've seen people who maybe had used twice the amount of tickets as me, and they never got them done. So I don't know. Honestly, it's really hard to say, Pika, because if you're already 600-700 tickets deep and you're only at SSS, I can see why you wouldn't push on. Again, it's just my opinion though. Maybe I'm just a bit jaded these days, but I don't think any unit's worth $600, $700, $800, $900. I think it's insane.
No unit. Absolutely no. I agree with this.
Absolutely insane. I've tried to not do that anymore.
I think most, even if they make a premium unit that breaks the game in every aspect, you can solo with it, everything. Putting more than $200, $250 on a game for a unit, that's absolutely absurd for me.
Yeah, and again, this is a different video. I don't want to go off topic because I've mentioned this before. Sure. It does make me a bit disappointed that when you look at it in hindsight, there is a unit that exists in the game that essentially, if you want to compete at the highest level, getting the highest scores and bosses and really have a chance of winning, you have to have bought. And ultimately it's Flame Chun-Li. There is obviously ways to get scores close to Flame Chun-Li, but a player who's got the rest of the team and they know how to use it, you're not going to outscore them. You're not going to outscore them. The only way you can beat them is to spend that money. I ultimately don't really think there should be anything that you're forced to spend. And unfortunately, we have that already with Flame Chun-Li, and I really hope it doesn't happen again. I mean, I like legendaries, okay, but I'm past wanting an OP legendary, because an OP legendary just gives an advantage to people who are willing to spend. So hopefully they don't do that again, but who knows? You never know.
So last verdict for you. Are you gonna use Luke in your showdowns?
Am I going to use him in my showdowns?
Yeah, not telling you the team. Are you gonna use Luke in your showdowns?
I mean, I'll try him, and then if my showdown team loses, I'll blame you.
Fair enough.
Nah, I mean, again, I don't think it matters. Like I say, if the Luke team doesn't face a Vega or a Bison, I think it's going to win. If it faces a Vega or a Bison, maybe it will win against a Bison. Don't think it will win against a Vega. So it's
maybe is what I want to hear, Hayzink. Only the maybe.
I suppose
because there's no maybe with different teams that doesn't like have Luke, doesn't have Bison or Vega. Vega versus another normal team will win. Bison versus another normal team will win. Versus a Luke team, there's a maybe Luke would win. That's what I want. That's what I want to hear only.
That's fine. I still wouldn't adjust him on my tier list, and the reason I say that is because I still stand by his animation speeds. If they were to increase them, I would put him up to SS. But as it stands, my biggest focus is bossing. I prefer bossing to PvP. I do. I think it's more fun. It's more enjoyable. You get to experiment more. And
actually, for me, he's so valuable. I didn't build him. I got lucky. I got him to SS, so he gets more stats. But his C2 is absolutely helping me out in the top 10. Now I was falling from the top 10 with Luke and his survivability as well with his C2 and damage reduction. I'm getting the top 10 consistent right now. I'm happy that I have at least one copy of him.
No, I mean,
we'll get you that.
That's definitely good. I mentioned this to you already though. That's less of an importance to me. I've got Wrestler Hugo built, he does it in his C2. I've got Guy that does it in his C2. And I've said this before, realistically, you cannot run 4 teams that have a C2 damage reduction unit. You can't do it, because you'll need to have something else on the team that kind of makes that not work. I've tried it. There's just not enough consistent hard-hitting C3 units. That's actually something I'm noticing more and more. Units who can only, in your build, only use the C3. There's very few that, if you're only using the C3, are actually going to deliver the kind of damage you want them to deliver. There's a few, but there's not many. And I think that should be the next big focus, in my opinion. Somebody who's self-sufficient from their passive and just using their C3 alone will make them absolutely pop off. But anyway, Pika, this has turned into a 45-minute video.
Nice.
So we should probably finish it here. No one will still be watching at this point, because I know how YouTube works. But for the 1 or 2 people who may have hung on, I appreciate you standing this long. What I will say is the title of the video is Pika tries to convince me I was wrong about Luke. I don't think he's succeeded. However, I will say that I think he's succeeded in making me appreciate him a little bit more. But the things I said about Luke which was, I don't think he's a bad unit. I stand by that. I had an issue with his speed, with his length, with his animations and stuff like that. And I said, I don't think, like on his own without a lot of other work, I don't think he's going to beat Vegas and Bisons. I still think that's the case. But I do think you can manipulate setups to beat those teams. I just think that for most players, it's not feasible because you would have to make your other teams weaker to do so. So I will say you've softened me towards Luke, but you've not changed my mind.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
You've made some very good points, though.
Yeah, and you did convince me of some stuff, like on the especially for Showdown, but like it's still being dominated by two lineups with Visconti Vega and Overlord Bison. But it's still, the addition of Luke, I think it will help you out. It will give you more odds. That's what I think.
Yeah, I'll concede that. There you go. You changed my mind on that. The non-Bison team, the non-Vega team that you run, will probably be stronger with Luke. I think you can. Yeah. I think you can probably build a team that's more successful with Luke than a full Turtles team. Because for me, anyway, the full Turtles team is a bossing team. It's just not worked that well in PvP for me. Fantastic for bossing. It's just not been that great in PvP for me. So, yes, Luke is a very solid Team 3 unit. If you ever make it to Team 3, it's Team 1 and 2, you know.
No, Team anyway, 1 and 2, uncontested, 100%.
Yeah. Not literally, guys, because we know that you can. What we mean is your two strongest teams, because obviously you can take your two strongest teams and you can put your two strongest teams in 2 or 3 or 1 and 3, you know. We just mean, like, as in top 3 teams kind of thing. Anyway, Pika, like I say, I appreciate the discussion. I think that it's food for thought for me anyway on a few different elements. I did spend most of last night anyway trying to find function for Luke in PvP, because what I will say is HWA is a good ground to try these units, you know. Just bear in mind what team you put together. If it's for Showdown, you have to think about your other teams, you know. Are you going to be able to do this? But anyway, thanks very much for joining. I'll let you have the last say, which I think you did already, but do it again.
No, thank you for having me again, and I like these debates because we have different perspectives and it opens up different ideas, and it will make people think about their options on their own, but they're listening to us and hearing our thoughts. We're not convincing people, we're just showing them opinions. They can do their own math.
Yeah, hopefully I'll let you speak a bit more this time. People don't understand that the last video you had no clue what we were going to talk about, so I had to talk more because you were not prepped for it whatsoever. It was a last minute thing. Obviously people are not going to agree with my take, and some people are not going to agree with your take, and then there will be the few people who we can probably guess what their names would be, who won't agree with either of our take, even though they were completely different takes, you know, because it's just I want to be contrarian, they're both wrong, they don't know what they're talking about. But yeah, that's it. Anyway, I've been Hayzink, Pika's a bitch, and I'll catch you in the next one. See you later.
Bye-bye.